What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and I've been going over the possibilities when it comes to this Kansas City Chiefs fans case, running different scenarios through my mind, but I always come back to thinking that at the very least, Jordan had some knowledge that something happened to his friends. But don't get me wrong, when I look at the details in this case, this doesn't seem like the actions of a cold-blooded killer. This doesn't seem like something that was thought out, planned, or premeditated. And I think Jordan's a smart guy. I think if Jordan wanted to do this, he could do a little bit better than just leaving the bodies in his backyard. And unlike a lot of other people in cases like this one, Jordan has the means to up and leave whenever he wants, and we've already seen that. He already moved out of the house before most of you all even heard of the story. So we definitely have a unique situation on our hands, but part of me, I really don't feel like Jordan is this cold-blooded killer. But then again, maybe Jordan is so smart that he knew he could pull this off, and he could pull off the perfect crime, making it look like his friends just OD'd and froze or passed out in the backyard, but really he slipped something on them. But I really don't think that's the case. I understand it's a possibility, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's more likely that Jordan was a bad friend. And in a moment where he should have made sure his friends were okay and brought them all inside, he went inside and laid down and went to sleep and left people passed out in the backyard. I think that there's also a possibility that Jordan maybe slipped something on these guys without the intention of killing them, but just with the intention of having a good time, because some people are weird like that. But I don't know. I just don't think that Jordan set out to murder these guys necessarily. But I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. But at the very least, it definitely does feel like he at the least knew that something was going on. But I gotta say, just when it felt like this case was starting to go nowhere, all of a sudden we had some bombshells dropped on us. We got information about how at least one of the bodies was placed and where it was found. I talked about that in a previous video, but I'm about to show you a news clip where they talk about it even more. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But also, neighbors have been coming out. One neighbor even had a little video from the night that these three guys were found. So go check out my two previous videos that I posted today if you haven't already, because there's a lot of information. There's clips and snippets of neighbors speaking about this case and everything. So go check out those videos. But for right now, I'm going to roll this news clip. I need a huge favor from you all, though. I need you to hit the thumbs up, and I need you to subscribe. I'm going to roll this news clip, and then afterwards, I'm going to be right back with more thoughts of my own.
You can't leave what happened in Kansas City alone. You can't have these families with these young guys had their whole lives in front of them, and there's just no answer. And the authorities aren't saying anything. I respect the authorities doing things the right way. But according to one of the guys involved here, his attorney, they don't expect foul play. Then why don't you give the family some answers? So these three men in Kansas City, you know the story. They were found frozen to death in their buddy's backyard in a way that we haven't heard before, by the way, which you're going to hear in a moment. But no gunshot, no stab wound, no ligature, meaning nobody had strangled them, apparently. Okay? So they send it out for an autopsy and toxicology. They say 8 weeks. 8 weeks. You can't bury, you can't mourn, you can't know. The families want answers. So we keep doing the story. And not to hype about it, because we can only know what is shown. All right? The family knows what these guys were about and what they were doing and who this friend was to them. Let's bring in the brother of Ricky Johnson, one of the deceased. We had his father on last week. Jonathan Price is his name, and he joins us now. Jonathan, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Chris.
So how's the family holding up with the unknown?
It's the same every day, with the lack of answers, um, the inability to really truly mourn without any form of cause. Um, it's just very difficult. I don't think I'll ever move on until, I mean, really, I'll never move on, but especially not knowing what happened to my brother. Um, that's, and I'm not one of these people that tries to speculate and stuff like that, but um, I just I want ideas out there. I want to be involved more. My mother, Ricky's father, they want to be involved more, and we're just not getting answers from anybody, even the people that claim they're doing the investigation.
So is it true that you guys have been trying to get the police to tell you what's happening and that they are not in communication with you?
That's correct.
Is there any reason, is there
Yep.
some protocol in Kansas City I'm not aware of where they're not allowed to interface with the families of victims of crimes? Because usually that's like the main interface.
Yes, and you would think so. Especially with something like this. And I'm not saying there was or was not a crime, but if you immediately suspect no foul play, then you should have a story. You should have something to tell the families. And for no one to hear anything, that doesn't make any sense. And I think that's one of the
Right.
main reasons why this is getting so big.
So, two things that you've said that I haven't heard before. One, you seem to know something about where these men were found that I haven't heard. What information do you have about specifically where they were in the backyard and how they were situated?
Well, I don't have firsthand knowledge, but I have heard because as being a brother, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at everything anybody posts, whether it's information I feel is useful or information I don't feel is useful. But information I
Right.
did
Well, you
find
also know who found them,
was
right? I mean, they were found. They were found
yeah.
by an extended family member. So you guys are in contact. So go ahead, tell the audience.
Yeah, so I believe David was found in a lawn chair on the back porch, rather than all three laying flat, which definitely paints a picture we did not have from the very beginning. And it definitely brings up some questions that you would have, especially with somebody that, I don't care who you are, where you live. If it's snowing outside, you're looking at how bad it's getting, especially if you have any type of responsibilities of leaving your house in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if you work from home, you got to leave sometime. And from his lawyer, we don't know if he left or not, because he started out saying that he left the home sporadically throughout the day. And then another one where he was home for 50 hours with no leaving
Right.
the
And they
house or
had
looking out a
cars.
window.
And there were
Yes.
cars outside in front.
Yeah.
And you have a feeling that an intoxicant was involved, and you know your brother, and this is not a judgment thing. I don't care how he liked to spend his free time. It's not what this is about. You believe that the answer here lies in something that your brother didn't know he was taking.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I don't even speculate on what my brother has or has not done in the past, because that wouldn't be firsthand knowledge of mine either. I just know that my brother was a good man. He loved his daughters to death. He absolutely had future plans to be a father to them for the rest of their lives, and he would not jeopardize that. So it just
You
doesn't make any
know,
sense.
I mentioned in previous videos that it felt like they were muddying the waters. They're muddying the waters, right? They're making things cloudy. They're making it hard to see the actual truth. They're diluting the truth. They're putting all of these stories out there so you kind of get caught in this ball of confusion. I see this all the time. This is usually a tactic that you see from the mainstream media, but this is a tactic that is being used by Jordan and his lawyer. Usually you see the mainstream media using this tactic. We saw this with those tunnels that were found beneath the Jewish synagogue in New York City. We saw them put out all of these different stories, all of these different excuses. And by the time they're on like the ninth different story, the ninth different excuse, you kind of lose sight of what the original story was. And that's kind of what they want. And I feel like that's what Jordan's lawyer wants here. Because a lot of you all might not know this. Some of you might not remember this. The story's changed so much. But early on in this case, it was said that Jordan had left the house multiple times over this 2-day period when his friends were frozen in the backyard. This was like, it wasn't even a disputed fact. It was just out there. The lawyer had mentioned it and everything, that Jordan had left the house multiple times throughout that day. But he stated that, oh, Jordan doesn't go in the backyard. Jordan doesn't go in the through the back door. He goes out the front. But it was stated that Jordan had left the house multiple times. Then the story changed to, oh, Jordan slept for 2 or 3 days straight. So when I mention things like, oh, they're muddying the waters, this is what I mean. Because we are so far removed from the original story now that a lot of people don't even remember the original story. Hell, it's hard for me to keep up. I've been talking about this case almost every day, and it's gotten to the point that I almost forgot that that was the original story as well. But yes, that's the original story that was out there. That Jordan left his house sporadically over that 2-day period, but then it changed to Jordan was asleep the entire time. So that's how they muddy the waters. That's how they cloud these stories and make it hard for you to know the truth. But as far as the positioning of the body, I was wondering, because this information has been kind of spreading, it's out there. It's not official though. None of this information about this case, none of it is from law enforcement. Okay? So this information's been kind of out there, but now we got family members kind of confirming it, that David was found on the back porch in a lawn chair. So we still have to figure out where the other 2 bodies were found. I was thinking that one body was found on a porch, on the back porch, and then another body was on the lawn chair, but it looks like the body that was on the back porch was the one in the lawn chair. So where the other 2 bodies were in the backyard, I don't know. But it's mentioned that they were in the backyard, not the back porch. So that's another interesting detail. Because if one guy's frozen to a lawn chair on the back porch, where would the other 2 guys be? And why would they be somewhere else? It's weird, you know what I mean? But maybe they were sitting in other chairs in other locations in the yard. I don't know. I don't know. Those are details that we're going to have to wait to find out. But as of right now, I really feel for this family because law enforcement isn't telling them anything. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in one of my next videos. For now, let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. If you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via Cash App. I'll have my Cash App in the pinned comment. You could also donate via Super Thanks or for free. You can help the channel by liking, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.